Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. Well, this weekend I tried to make a few videos and talk about knives, and that's because I'm starting to feel better and I'm looking forward to maybe getting back outside. Getting back to work would be nice as well. But at any rate, I've talked about knives and cutting tools and cutting implements in generalities, and I thought I would maybe talk about a specific category, and I'm going to call this category the belt knife. The belt knife is a fixed bladed knife that you have on you all the time, and I looked at that knife to be a very versatile cutting tool. You know, we can have large knives and axes and hatchets to handle heavier chopping and splitting chores, and we also can have maybe pocket knives or other skinning knives that are very thin profile, fine edges that can handle more delicate work of preparing game and food and maybe some carving tasks and things of that nature. But it's that belt knife that is somewhere in between. That's that belt knife that I look to as having the greatest amount of versatility. Okay. So with that, I'll show you a few knives and talk about some of the characteristics of the knife and attributes of the knife that I appreciate. First up is a knife that I've already said that I have in a survival kit, and that is the Fallkniven S1. This knife really fits that compromise role very well. Now, I haven't mentioned length of knives, and I usually look towards that field knife or that belt knife as being somewhere between 4 inches and 6 inches, you know, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. It's not set in stone by any means, but this one has just over, I think it's a 5 1/4 inch length, and has a pretty substantial piece of steel there. It's about 3/16 of an inch thick. But because of the grind, they've removed a lot of that steel, and it makes it really fit that middle roll, that compromise roll, rather well. It has a good tip, and I like a pointy tip on a knife because of all the things that you can do with a nice pointy tip. Yet, because of the way they ground the swedge into the top, the swedge actually terminates right at the tip, which gives the tip strength and still allows it to be pointy. Has a decent amount of sweep for slicing tasks, and the grip is the one thing that I would change about this knife, and that is the thermominum, whatever material, and I know I'm butchering that up, is a fine. It is okay. You know, it's tacky, and you know, it feels okay. It's just small. And in my hands it feels kind of small, and I wish I had more material there. Now, it has a full length tang, but it does not have what you would consider a full size tang. But because of the robustness of the tang, and you can see that it's nearly a full tang, you don't have to worry about any strength issues or anything of that nature. Now, the next knife, wow, this is a beast of a belt knife, in my opinion. This is from Blind Horse Knives. It's called the Packhorse, I believe. And if you look, it has sort of a butcher profile to it. But when you start looking at it, it's got 3/16 of an inch of 01 steel. It has a saber grind, and the edge profile is sort of medium. And so therefore, all these things put together is quite a versatile knife that is very robust. It does have a full tang, as you can see from the sides here. And the handle material is a canvas micarta, and it is substantial. It feels good. I like the big, thick handle material of this knife. This knife is not going to perform some of the finer tasks as well, but you can get by with this design and with the edge profile. And all in all, I like this knife. You can see that probably in the last 2 years that I've owned this knife, I've used it quite a bit, and I like it very much. I do need to go back and talk to you a little bit about the S1, the Fallkniven, and talk about the steel. You know, the Scandinavian folks for quite a while have been laminated steels, and they do a pretty good job at it. This has a laminated steel blade that I did not discuss. The core of the blade is VG10, and sandwiched on the outsides is 420. Some people used to refer to that as a surgical stainless steel. And I like the properties of that. I think they come together and make for a nice knife. Now, you're going to see a lot of knives that I'm going to show you that have stainless steel in their construction. And that's because of where I live. All right, I live in the South, which means it's hot and humid a lot. But I also live near the coast of the Atlantic Ocean and the coast of the Chesapeake Bay. Both are very short drives away from me. I am inside the salt line, the salt that is in the air. It is very, very corrosive, and when you add with that humidity, it can be very tough on knives. Now, all steel will rust, period. But the stainless steels are more resistant to the corrosion than some of the high carbon steels that we are used to seeing in knives, like A2 steel, O1 steel, 1095. Okay. So, with that, let me continue. Next knife I want to show you is a really cool little knife, and this is from Becker, from K-Bar, Becker knives. This is the BK16. It's a drop point knife. It fits in that size category. It has a full flat grind, okay, which is I like on a smaller knife, on a medium-sized knife, not so much on the larger knives. And I know we have some internet experts out there that love the full flat grind on their big knives. And for them, I would say continue to enjoy them. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. But for me, what I find is the full flat grind puts the most steel on wood when you're trying to baton through something or split wood, and therefore creates more resistance. Okay. Other grinds will start to pull the wood away from the steel. You don't have as much of the knife dragging through the wood that you do with a full flat grind. But on a smaller knife, the full flat grind aids in cutting chores such as slicing and carving and things of that nature, and that makes it very good for a belt knife. This is not a very expensive knife. The handle scales are kind of plasticky. I'm not sure what they're made of, but they feel good in the hand. Feels good in my hand. I like it very much. And I like the drop point design of the blade. I think the last knife I'll show y'all is this knife right here. Outstanding knife. And I haven't had a chance to really use it very much because right after I bought it, I got sick with the Lyme disease stuff. But anyway, this is a Bark River knife, and it's part of their Bravo series. And this is called the Bravo 1.25. It's something in between the original Bravo and the Bravo 1.5, in that it has a 5-inch blade. It's made of CPM 3V steel, 3/16, very robust blade stock there. But it has a full height convex grind. And as it terminates towards the edge, it's a good medium compromise thickness, and has a very good tip, as you can see. And all in all, just an outstanding knife. Now, this knife has handle scales made of desert ironwood. Okay, and what I have found is that desert ironwood is a very dense wood. It adds weight. It actually feels good. It feels very good in the hand. I like natural materials. Yes, the composites and other materials like micartas and things are very durable, very robust, but so can some of the natural materials. And so far I've found that desert ironwood and some of the ebony woods can really make for a very durable handle material. So I am very much looking forward to using this knife in the field. I like the 5-inch length. I like the blade style of the slight drop point that it has. I like the sweep. I think will aid in slicing and carving. I like everything about this knife. This is one of those knives that after I've gotten it, I haven't really been able to put it away. I keep wanting to grab it. The handle feels good in my hand. The shape of the blade, the size of the blade, the edge, they all appeal to me. So I'm really looking forward to using this knife. All right, folks, well, that's really all I wanted to talk about, show you a few examples of what I think a a really good belt knife, that compromise cutting tool looks like, at least what I look for in that type of knife. All right, folks, thank you very much for watching my videos. I certainly appreciate it. And remember to shoot straight on the range and in life. Thanks.